If you were a kid in the mid 2000s, your world transformed. We got Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, and Dark of the Moon, all in the span of a few years. And honestly, despite what everybody thinks about those movies, I love them. I mean, we had fantastic trailers and fantastic movie composed by Steve Jablonsky. I mean, I love the track of Optimus that played in the first movie.
It's been an honor serving with you all. Autobots, roll out!
Prime that was in the second movie. And I think it was Descent on a Prime theme in Dark of the Moon.
Been if you had fought the final battle instead of me.
All fantastic themes. Aside from Jablonsky's score, we also had Linkin Park tied in with Transformers. How freaking cool is that, being in the early 2000s and having to listen to What I've Done, New Divide, and Iridescent. And the scale of these movies, holy crap, it was massive. Now I get it. A lot of people used to clown Michael Bay a lot because of his sparks and explosions and all the chaos that happened on set. But to be fully honest, I feel like a lot of movies lack that hardcore action that his movies brought, especially the Transformers movies. And aside from that, the CGI in these movies were fantastic. They hold up so well today. It's insane. It puts a lot of movies to shame, to be honest. Even the newer Transformers movies, while they look good, I honestly feel like something is missing from them. Now, I'll be completely honest. I actually didn't get to see the first movie in theaters. Funny enough, I was actually moving at the time, and the only way for me to experience this movie was, well, bootleg. I know, not the best thing to say, but I mean, hey. I mean, and to be honest, that version wasn't that good either. I mean, a lot of the audio was cut off. I'm just glad that when the DVD came out, I was able to experience the movie in its full glory. And then Revenge of the Fallen came out. How crazy was it when we saw Optimus Prime get his faceplate like destroyed by Megatron's leg? And Sam yelling Optimus? It was wild, man. I was losing my mind. Now, I did learn a life lesson watching Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. See, I was insanely hyped when the movie came out, and when I finally got to the theater with my parents, I actually walked into the wrong showing. And so here I go, little me, looking at the screen, sitting down on a random chair, and I see Optimus Prime being taken down already by Nest. You know when he like died by Megatron and they like drop him off? That's the first thing I saw, and I was like, no. Wait. But once I watched it, I loved it. Now, I know that this movie is possibly the weakest in the trilogy, and I get a lot of its criticism, especially because it was during the writer's strike. But as a kid watching Optimus Prime say, "I'll take you all on" in the forest battle with Megatron, Starscream, and Grinder, like, that was so cool.
I'll take you all on.
Also, can we just say that Michael Bay's version of Optimus Prime is the most savage version ever? I mean, that man does not play. He was literally ripping faces throughout the entire trilogy. And then when Dark of the Moon came out, oh my gosh, that was insane. I mean, my sister wore a Bumblebee shirt. I wore an Optimus Prime shirt. My brother wore an Autobots logo shirt. And we all went to like the biggest IMAX screen that we could get. And it was crazy seeing that final battle. To be honest, I would say that nothing still compares to that battle in any of the Transformers movies that we've ever seen. But here's the thing, I feel like that era hit much harder, not just because of the movies, but what actually came around them. When those movies came out, I feel like not only me, but a lot of newer fans, we started diving into like the whole G1 era. That's when I started watching the animated movie, which is amazing, and hearing The Touch by Stan Bush and Dare, gosh, I fell in love with the franchise. But we also got new shows during that era. And I know there were shows like Armada and Energon and Cybertron, and a lot of people loved them. But I'm not gonna lie, I was never really that big into those shows. I tried, but it really wasn't for me until Transformers Animated came out. Maybe it was because it had that Teen Titans style and comedy, but it was just so cool, and the designs of the characters were just so awesome. Some of them had similarities to the movies, especially Optimus and Megatron in a sense, but I mean, you can almost say that they almost took part of their G1 look, so maybe that's what it was. It's just a shame that the show ended after 3 seasons, because man, I feel like that was one of the best Transformers shows ever. Of course, the replacement for that show was Transformers Prime, and while it was awesome that Peter Cullen returned as Optimus Prime and then Frank Welker came back as Megatron, I still would say that I did enjoy Animated more, but still, it was freaking awesome. The movies basically made me a bigger Transformers fan than I thought I'd ever be. And then of course were the games. See, we got movie tie-in games for all 3 movies. And while those movie tie-in licenses have rather a bad reputation, I would actually say that the Transformers ones were pretty good and fun. See, the first one was okay, it was a little clunky, not my favorite, but it was still fun. But Revenge of the Fallen, that was even better. It was pretty well polished and the story was pretty cool. I mean, you can play between Autobots and Decepticons similar to the first game, but the mission structure was just so much better. And not only that, you actually had multiplayer. And fun fact, this was actually the first game that I ever played online. And I remember unlocking Gold Optimus Prime and Gold Megatron and using them online. It was a healthy online gaming community, I would say. Also, it was around the time when DLC was rather new, and that was the first piece of DLC that I ever bought on the Xbox 360. And now after those 2 movie license games, we got what I would say, and a lot of Transformers fans would say, and even gamers in general, the greatest Transformers video games of all time, called Transformers War for Cybertron and Transformers Fall for Cybertron. Holy crap, those games were masterpieces. I mean, you went back to the civil war between the Autobots and the Decepticons, and you saw like the final days basically of what was happening. But it was very G1 inspired with like some like modern looks to the characters. It was just so freaking awesome. And of course, Peter Cullen was Optimus Prime, and he will always be Optimus Prime. Both games had fantastic story modes. The second one was very well polished in the story and the multiplayer too.
Bumblebee! What a waste of energon! After eons of conflict, I finally see the truth of your words, Megatron. And what might that be, Optimus? This universe, no matter how vast, will never be big enough for you and I to coexist.
But here's the thing. I will say though that over time, I have gone to say that War for Cybertron is the better game, and I will stand by that. Both are fantastic, but I feel like War for Cybertron has just a better replayability factor. The fact that you can play the missions with 3 people online, play escalation mode, which is like that horde mode that was very popular back in that era. You had Firefight from Halo and horde mode from Gears of War. But the fact that it was Transformers, it was just really cool. Unfortunately, I actually never really got to enjoy the game because my Xbox actually died with the red ring of death. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Microsoft. It's a shame that that franchise is stuck in licensing hell between Activision and Hasbro. Like, I have no idea why they can't come into an agreement or something. Now, after those games, we did get later the Dark of the Moon game that was also developed by High Moon Studios, which are the ones that did War for Cybertron and Fall for Cybertron. It wasn't bad, it played decent, it wasn't as polished as the War for Cybertron games. Nonetheless, it was a decent game. But unfortunately, they ended up in a bad note, and we ended up getting that pretty mediocre Age of Extinction video game, which honestly, the Age of Extinction saga era, you know, with The Last Night, I was never really a big fan of it, and I felt like that's when the Transformers movies really went downhill. I mean, it really wasn't even developed by High Moon Studios, so you can definitely tell the quality dipped really bad. Now, the Cybertron missions played really well, but anything that took place on Earth, I mean, that was just horrible, and it's a shame that the franchise ended after that, man. Now, of course, what was even bigger than the video games? Well, I would say that it's the main reason why Transformers even existed, and it's the toys. I mean, you saw them everywhere in the aisles. You had Deluxe Class, Voyager Class, and Leader Class, and back then, those figures actually felt like how they're supposed to be. The Deluxe Classes actually felt, well, pretty good and substantial with sizes. Voyager Classes felt big and brought a little bit more accessories, and the Leader Classes, well, they were huge. And the engineering in those toys were fantastic. Now, I will say that some of them were really hard to transform, especially that Leader Class Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, who is a masterpiece, I would say, in the Transformers community. And while the movie lines were great, what I really loved was the animated line in Transformers. And honestly, that toy line was the first thing that got me into getting a Transformers figure. I mean, I remember my dad taking me to Target, and I got the Transformers animated The Battle Begins Battle Damage Optimus Prime and Battle Damage Megatron set. It also came with a DVD set that had the first episode of the animated series. See, and having all those toys, it was just part of the experience because you could just play with them, transform them for hours. I mean, I know I did as a kid, and I mean a kid, I was in high school. Now, here's the thing that has bothered me with the new lines of Transformers figures. They shrunken their sizes a lot. These are 2 Leader Class figures. Look at the size difference, it's insane. And to add to that, the plastic. I don't know, I feel like the quality of the plastic was better back then. And come on, how many of you guys, when you got your license, you were hoping to get a Camaro that basically made you feel like you had Bumblebee? Also, you know what? Does anybody know this? I was gifted these watches back when the first movie came out, and I have never opened them, but I cannot tell for the life of me whose autograph is it. And sadly, it's slowly fading away, but if anybody can let me know, please tell me down in the comments. And see, around the time when I was getting those toys, that's when I discovered the huge part of being a Transformers fan, and it was YouTube toy reviews. And man, I love those YouTubers, and I still watch them to this day. It was a simpler time, watching them unbox figures, explain the transformations, and it would just be so fun when you get excited about seeing a figure that you were about to get very soon. All that stuff that came around that era made Transformers feel unstoppable, honestly. We had movies, shows, toys, and of course the video games. And in looking back, it really made you feel alive being a Transformers fan back then. See, because I know the movies weren't perfect, and the games weren't either. And of course, some of the designs were divisive, and I get that. All in all, a lot of people just universally love them. At least the first 3 movies. And if you guys like these type of videos of looking back at certain eras that made us feel a certain way, go ahead and check the rest of the channel. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and like Optimus Prime says, till all are one.